6 countries. Dan Bigg enjoys fighting with Marcus Smith before the conflict in Twickenham. Dan Biggar knows a fierce competitor and he sees one, so he cannot wait to face England's Marcus Smith at Twickenham for Wales a week on Saturday. While many are marvelling at Smith's flicks, tricks, hitch kicks and attacking flair, Biggar knows that he will be in for a fight when the pair meet in the next round of the Guinness Six Nations. Smith, 23, was a late call-up to the British-Irish Lions tour to South Africa last summer, where Biggar, 32, start all 3 test matches at number 10. On tour, a Wales captain was thoroughly impressed with his young teammate. I saw Tom Curry's interview after they beat Italy and he summed it up really well, Biggar said. He said everyone is aware of Marcus's talents, skills, but he mentioned how motivated and driven he is. That was so clear in the summer. He's got a desire to get better, is not afraid to make mistakes, and has got that real fight and scrap in him. He's probably the form player in the Northern Hemisphere barring Antoine Dupont. It'll be a great challenge. He's a really good lad and is not just a talented player. He works his socks off, is driven and motivated. All the boys really bought into him. He certainly ran the show when we played. I got on really well with him. He's a really good bloke, so it'll be great to play him. Biggar and Wales produced a resolute display in Cardiff on Saturday to beat Scotland 20-17, having lost to Ireland badly 29-7 in the opening round. After his win he watched Smith and England pull Italy apart as they won 33-0 in Rome, and he thinks the key to Welsh success in London on February 26 will be shutting out England's fly half. We're fully aware that going to Twickenham is probably the most difficult game in the Six Nations, Biggar said. You're running out of words to describe Marcus with the form he's showed over the last year. We have to make sure we take time and space away from him, as he's a world-class operator who can play at a really high level. Wales-England is always really tight early doors. That is what set the tone for us in the Scotland game. We settled in early on, got amongst it, and we'll have to do the same again a week on Saturday. If you allow England to have time and space, the power they've got in the team, the depth they've got, we're going to be in for a difficult afternoon. It's about starting well and hopefully getting in amongst their world-class players, taking their time and space away. England may unleash Manu Tuilagi on Wales, with the Sale Shark centre primed for his latest comeback, having played twice for his club as he returns from a hamstring injured against South Africa in November. Biggar is aware of how much the English dynamic changes with Tuilagi involved. It'll mean a bit more tackling practice in the week for us backs if he is playing, he said. Everyone is well aware of Manu's strengths, and when he plays England tend to play better whatever position he plays, 12 or 13. He's physical, will give any team he plays for go forward, and as soon as you get on the front foot in international rugby life gets a lot easier. He's obviously going to strengthen England if he can get some minutes and back in the fold. After that dogged win against the fancied Scots, defying their critics from the poor Dublin display, Biggar reveals that those who had written off Wales had only fired them up. When you don't play well as a team you're going to have criticism, which is part and parcel of the job, Biggar, who is unlikely to play for Northampton Saints this weekend as he recovers from a dead leg he picked up against Scotland, says. We've been in tough positions before, have had tough away defeats to England and Ireland, and not that it was unjust, as you have to take the criticism, but we felt it was a little bit overboard. We said we've got history of bouncing back, performing well and getting it right. Our pride was hurt a bit. We didn't fire any shots last week, and the big thing in the week was, let's take our frustrations of the Ireland game out on Scotland. We've a good record in Cardiff in general, and in the Six Nations. That was a bit disappointing for us, as our record in the Six Nations is as good as anybody's over the last decade. Albeit we had a really poor performance, things went a bit OTT in that regard. We played a good Scotland team, coming with plenty of confidence, and the conditions probably helped us, turning it into a scrap. Off the back of us being pretty hurt and wounded last week, it suited us to have a scrap, rather than an end-to-end, free-flowing game. Gethin Jenkins made a really good point at halftime. He didn't speak too much technically about the defense, but said, how do we want to feel coming back into the changing rooms afterward? Do we want to feel like last week, or can we enjoy some milestones, Jack Morgan's first cap, with a beer? That hit home, as you know, how tough it felt last week. It might not have been one of the best victories, but it was certainly one of my most important in a red shirt off the back of a tough week. It was about sticking together, knowing we've been in this position before. The senior boys managed to brush that off on to the younger boys. A week is a long time in sport. You get a result and are criticized, then get a win and get praise. It felt a real character performance. I can't say we played brilliant, fluid rugby for 80 minutes, as that wasn't the case. But what we did do was tough it out in big moments, rolled our sleeves up. Biggar now knows Wales must back that victory up again to challenge for another Six Nations title. We're aware we haven't cracked it, he said. Looking at the next 2 games, England and France, if we don't improve we're not going to get the result. So, it's keeping us grounded. We've traditionally worked hard in the rest weeks rather than putting our feet up and resting on our laurels. It's about mucking in, rolling the sleeves up again, and hopefully with the confidence of a win it'll do wonders for the camp.